Welcome to everyone. Today we're gonna do Cage Warriors 142 show. Again, Jamal Graham is our guest, and thanks so much, man. Thank you. Yeah, let's go, Bulgaria. Oh, your puppy is here. Yeah, we have a new guest. It's pretty much playful, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Very peaceful dog.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like when you have a house puppy, that's always great. Alright, about Cage Warriors 142, it takes part in Wells, and I've seen that some bouts are set, some bouts are not set, some of them are added, some of them are not added. The card is still shaping, but unfortunately next week I'm on vacation, so we are going to record it now. We're gonna put premiere on Monday if it works. Okay, let's start from the beginning. You can start with the announcing of the fights. Let's go.
So I based this off the Cage Warriors website, what the fights were. So the first fight I had was Owen Williams versus Sean Mccormick. Sean McCormick's a good fighter, man. He's been in my radar for a little while now. Owen Williams is a Welshman, so obviously the crowd's got to be in his side for this fight. I am going to lead with Owen Williams in this fight. I think he's got a bit more experience and he's faced slightly better level of competition. Owen Williams has also got a good amateur career. But Sean McCormick, I like the guy. I do respect the guy quite a lot. And he's tough. I don't see him getting finished here. So I'm going to go with Owen Williams by decision. A very smart decision by Cage Wars to start the card with this fight. It's a very good one. I'm looking forward to this. I'm pretty sure it's a middleweight fight as well. So it's two bigger guys, more likely for a finish either way. So yeah, good way to start the card, man.
Yeah, I also think it's pretty much a great way of the card. About that fight, I was unsure whether it's going to come to fruition or not. But I'm pretty much happy because it does. And to be honest, I quite agree with you, but I think it's very tough matchup for both of the guys, as both of these Octagon Warriors are pretty much tough, and both of them can trade on the feet, can trade on the ground, sweeps, transition game. I think both of them are pretty much well-rounded, so what do you say about that?
I definitely agree. This is a very even matchup, even though both guys have got minimal pro experience. Both guys did have pretty fruitful amateur careers, so yeah, I'm expecting a high-level fight here. No disappointments on a Cage Wars card, man. They always bring the highest level action that you can get outside of the UFC, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Cage Warriors is a great place to build UFC prospects. Some people say that Cage Warriors might not be the greatest when it comes to payouts, but when it comes to creating prospects, it's definitely one of the greatest promotions all around the globe when it comes to the UFC. Can we proceed to the next fight? Which one gonna be the next? Thanks for the first one.
Yeah, so I had Milton Cabral versus George Mcmahon next. I just based this off the Cage Wars website. So my biggest issue with picking George McMahon to win his fights is what I'm worried about is durability. He took a lot of damage in his fight with Ian Gary, who's obviously going to do great things in the UFC. Ian Gary was really badly hurting him on the feet, and then he dropped him with that head kick and finished him. He took a lot of damage against Owen Elliott as well, who we'll talk about later on in the card. I'm going to side with Milton Cabral here by KO in the second. Milton Cabral is a good Portuguese prospect. He's got a very good start to his pro career, good power and a lot of finishes. And that's just kind of what I need to see to pick against George McManus. I'm not against the guy or anything like that. He's been around the UK scene for a long time, has McManus. But I think the chin and durability is a big question for me at this point, so I'm going to have to lean with Milton Cabral by finishing second round.
I would have to go with the finish. Like, hard to predict the round, but I would go with the finish, definitely. According to... I think there is a slight greater difference between these two guys compared to the first fight. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, it's a bit more one-sided, I think you could say, yeah. That's why I'm saying a finish, so yeah, I'd say that.
Yeah, I would also say finish, but I would gladly choose the late finish. Like, if it's 3-rounder, maybe round 3 or something like that. That could be a good option.
Definitely. I'm going with finishing the second, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a 3-rounder. But yeah, that's a good bet right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Which one is the next? Do we have more fights in the prelims?
Yeah, I had Sheriff Lorosi versus Scott Peterson.
That's awesome. I'm a big fan of Scott.
Yeah, and I think Scott's going to get this one done. Obviously he's a Welshman as well, so crowd will inside. He's been about for a long time. He's been about on Cage Wars, on Bellator before, I believe, and other companies across Europe. Sheriff Lorosi's from the Netherlands. Not as much experience I can see and not as much competition level. Scott Peterson's faced a lot of guys from all around Europe. So relying on me to get this one done by decision. And like you said, Scott Peterson, like everyone in the UK scene knows who that guy is. He's been about everywhere. So experience, durability, tough guy. He's very well rounded. I think he's going to get this one done.
I like to call Scott Peterson Mr. Angle, if you know what that means.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, he can throw punches from all the angles. No, I'm not joking. I'm dead ass. He can throw strikes from all the angles. Like, He's got a pretty much new fighting style. Like, if you can compare Scott like a few years ago and nowadays, do you see how he modified his fighting style? I mean, you watch it every single day. It's your promotion. You've probably seen something like that. It's like you're from UK.
There's definitely been an evolution. Scott Peterson's not taking his career lightly. Scott Peterson wants to be in the UFC, wants to be a top-level guy, and he's taking his career as such as with his training. So yeah, very reliable guy to get it done against guys lower down on the pro scene. So yeah, I can definitely trust Scott Peterson with a pick here.
I don't know who's his coach, but his coach is doing a hell of a job.
Oh, definitely. I can't disagree with you. No, definitely not.
Yeah. Which one is the next fight according to Cage Warriors website?
Had Jasmine Favreau versus Stephanie Evans, the women's lightweight bout. So, I mean, I did a bit of research for this. I think this is the very first women's fight in Cage Warriors since the 24th of February 2018. It's been a very long time, and that fight was Molly McCann versus Bryony Terrell. So that was ages ago. But unless I missed a fight, it's been a very long time since there's been a women's fight in Cage Warriors, let alone a women's lightweight fight. The only other place that we see women's lightweights right now in MMA at high level, at least, is at the PFL with Kayla Harsh and stuff like that. But I'm going to go against the hometown girl here. I'm going to go with Jasmine Favreau of Italy. I think she's faced just better competition levels. Both had very good amateur careers. I'll give them both that. But I'm going to lean with Jasmine Favreau here. She's a bit more like an in-shape girl. It seems like she's a bit more toned. And I'm going to go with her by decision here. But it's a good fight.
I'm also going with Favreau with decision. As much as I know, both of these girls are not knockout artists. They are more tactical fighters. I mean, as much as I know, maybe they changed something. People can change their fighting style if they switch training camps, etc. They say, like, when you reach the age of 25, 27, 23, that it's pretty much hard to make a style change. What do you say about it?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'm not seeing many finishes either way, apart from a couple of submissions on both the records. So yeah, that's why I'm leaning more to the decision first fight.
Yeah, definitely a decision could be a great way to go. I mean, but we can see a technical scrap. Why not? I'm always eager to see technical battles. What could be the next fight?
I've got Chris Bungard versus Eric De Silva next on the lineup. So Chris Bungard, a lot of people might not know who he is because he's been on Bellator a couple of times, but he's the main coach and usually he's always in the corner of Paul Craig at the Scottish Hit Squad. Very, very experienced guy, very cool guy as well. But he's taking on a very, very tough guy in Eric De Silva, who is maybe even more experienced than Chris Bungard. And of course, Chris Bungard's repping Scotland, Eric De Silva's repping Brazil. De Silva's got a lot of good experience with guys like Brave CF. That's a good promotion to get some work in. And as much as it pains me to say, I'm going to actually lean with Eric De Silva here by decision. As much as I'd like to see Chris Bungard get this one done. He very well could. It's pretty much a 50-50 fight for me. I'm just slightly leaning Eric De Silva based off durability and experience. But I would not be disappointed if Chris Bungard gets it done, man, because he could never count that guy out.
I think De Silva's opponent is too tough. Sorry, man, I will have to go against you here.
No, they definitely understand. This is probably one of the closest fights in the entire card.
Yeah, I really like 50-50 fight. Kind of hard. I would rather go with something fight starts round 3 or some neutral prediction. I would rather go with something like that.
Oh, definitely. I can see that as well.
Yeah, because these guys, they are not extremely fast starters. They can start fast, but they mostly start slow. So you never know. I mean, you never know. Maybe it's going to be a knockout in round 1. Maybe it's going to be, technical warfare for 3 rounds. You never know with these guys. And these guys are pretty much adjustable, if you know. That's why one of the reasons why I have to go against Eric De Silva, the level of adjustment. What do you think?
I mean, definitely. I mean, I'm just very, very slightly in De Silva, but Chris Bungard, he got a fight recently this year at Holytown Havoc, I believe. And I mean, training a guy like Paul Craig, you've got to get some working with some big guys, especially with all the gyms that those guys kind of work around with each other. But yeah, I do not mind the pick at all. Chris Bungard here, a very, very close competitive fight.
Yeah, very close fight. Which one is the next?
I've got Josh Reed versus Bogdan Barber. Josh Reed, one of my favourite fighters to ever come from Cage Wars. I know you've had him on the channel before.
Yes, great guy. I love the guy.
Josh Reed is the Donald Cerrone of Cage Wars. He will fight anyone, anywhere, anytime. He pretty much has fought anyone. And I'm going to pick him here against Bogdan Barber. We've seen Bogdan Barber last time out in the Colchester card. He lost that one by submission. I'm actually going to go with Josh Reed submission in the second round here. Josh Reed is so tough. I mean, think about back to that Nathaniel Wood fight, how much of a scrap that was, how long he could stay on his feet against Nathaniel Wood. I can't trust Josh Reed to not lose against these kind of guys who haven't got as much experience, because it's just so different between how many guys Josh Reed has fought and how many top-level guys Josh Reed has fought to these London guys like Bogdan Barber. Obviously, the crowd's going to go crazy there. He's a Welshman as well. So yeah, I'm going to rep my boy here, Josh Reed. Hopefully he can get this one done. And second round submission is what I'm going to go for. I'm very hopeful on this.
I'll tell you something. Josh Reed is fighting in front of his home fans. That's going to be, that's going to be like you're boosting somebody, like you're giving him an injection to stimulate him. But I'll be honest, Josh Reed is one of the most unpredictable guys on the roster. So it's either going to be a first round knockout, it's either going to be some unexpected move from Josh Reed. With Josh Reed, every fight is different. So I just hope it's going to be a quick finish because I'm quite worried about Barbu's cardio. It's not bad at all. And Josh Reed, if he starts right off the bat, he might try to finish. He might start slowing down in the third. So it depends on which strategies he's going to choose. Actually, Josh Reed is a very powerful fighter with very good cardio, but sometimes he wishes to win too much, and sometimes it costs him. You know what was happening in the past with him. I watched like 4 or 5 of his bouts. In one of his bouts, he literally wasted all the energy in the first, and in one of his bouts, after round 3, he was like, okay, I can continue. What's the problem? So he's so unpredictable. I'm going with Josh Reed, but I'm too scared to pick a method because he's so unpredictable. What do you think?
I mean, I was saying that Josh Reed will fight anyone, anywhere, anytime. Josh Reed can finish you anywhere, anytime. We've seen him finish Brian Clayton with knees against the cage. He can submit you, he can finish in your feet. He can go 3, 5 hard rounds and get it out. He's just such a dog, so experienced. I mean, I think we're both with this. I think we're both going to go for Josh Reed here. Big fans of him here on this channel.
Yeah, I'm also a big fan. Can't go against him. Which is the next one?
I've got Aaron Abbey versus Michelangelo Paulie.
Aaron Abbey. Tough guy. It's
like we said, yeah, Aaron Abbey, I can't remember quite, I think he had some sort of leukemia, and then once he was going through that, Graham Boylan said that once you return, get the surgery done with, there's going to be a pair of yellow gloves waiting for you. So Aaron Abbey, very inspirational story, coming through all that, and he's came through Cage Wars now. What a rough debut for Aaron Abbey. Getting Sam Creasy in your first fight on Cage Wars is very rough, but since then he's came back, I beat the former champion, and then he just submitted Hardo Fanny last time out. I can't doubt Aaron Abbey here. Not only has he got the experience on the mental side, he's got the hometown, the crowd on his side. I'm going to go with him here by submission in the third round. I think Lupo's quite a tough guy, but I don't think he's on the level of Aaron Abbey here. I can definitely go with Aaron Abbey here. He's not going to get finished. I don't see Aaron Abbey getting finished for a long time. This killer guy is really, really durable, really tough, hard to submit, and even harder to knock out. So I can trust Aaron Abbey gets one done. Submission in the third round is what I'm going to go with.
I see Aaron Abbey as a better fighter on the ground, so if the fight gets dragged to the ground, we might see a submission or maybe some kind of control for 3 rounds. So let's hope he will drag it to the ground. The Italian guy is a pretty much fair striker, but on the ground I see a massive advantage on the end of Abbey. What do you say?
I mean, I don't even think that Aaron Abbey's necessarily got bad striking. It's just that Sam Creasy is such an elite level striker for the Cage Wars promotion. It's hard to look against him on the feet, but on the ground, definitely. I mean, he kind of did manhandle and ragdoll Geraldo Fanny on the ground, so I can definitely see him doing the same thing to Lupoli, and I don't see this fight going decision.
Yeah. Next one. Ooh, this is a banger, man. What do you say?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm assuming this will be the co-main event. This is an absolutely crazy fight. Matt Bonner versus Oban Elliott. 2 of my favourite guys to watch in Cage Wars. Oban Elliott, very good personality. Even Chael Sonnen was talking about the Welsh gangster. But Matt Bonner, he will just fight anyone. He comes on the short notice all the time. It's like there'll be a fight a week away, and like Matt Bonner's added to the card. Every Cage Wars card, it seems like that happens. But before I talk about the fight quickly, Matt Bonner made a point about the Contender Series last week. That first episode where Dana White was kind of upset because the fighters were kind of boring and they weren't really getting any finishes. Matt Bonner was making a good point of these undefeated guys on the Contender Series won't be willing to make the risk of getting a good performance to get signed because they don't want to risk losing an undefeated record. Matt Bonner will not take that same risk because Matt Bonner's been there, done that. He's only been finished once, and that was an amateur. He fought Lerone Murphy as an amateur, which is crazy to think about because Matt Bonner was a big middleweight and Lerone Murphy's down to featherweight. But Matt Bonner's such a dog, man. You think about how many chances, Vladimir, you know this, how many chances do the American guys get to go in tough? You get Americans who are like 1-1, 3-1, and they get to go in the Contender Series, they get to go in tough. How hard is it for European guys to get signed to the UFC at this point? I mean, if Matt Bonner was born and raised in America and he fought in the American scene, he probably would have got signed to the UFC after he beat Matthias Frederick for the belt. Let's be honest, he probably would have. But he didn't get signed there. Nathan Fletcher's another guy who probably got signed 100%, but had these 6 through Cage Wars and is still there now. I love Matt Bonner's mindset to the game. I love his dedication. Training at Next Gen. What a great gym that is. That's a tough one for me to even talk about because I love both guys so much. I love seeing both guys. But the issue for me is Oban Elliott getting dragged to the ground, and he does get beat down there sometimes. You know, the loss to Mike Figlak where he got TKO on the ground. His most recent loss to Madars Feminas when he got TKO on the ground. I can see Matt Bonner being the next champion in Cage Wars at welterweight division, honestly. I can see him beating Rhys McKee, especially when you see Rhys McKee's grappling exchanges against Burlington. I can definitely see Bonner beating him here, but he's got a tough task ahead of him. I'm going to go with Bonner by submission in the second round. I can also see him grounding out Oban Elliott on the ground, because Matt Bonner, I don't think he's going to get finished. I mean, he knows that he can take a good shot. I mean, I remember in his last fight against Joe Kawadja, he took a massive head kick and kept coming forward. Such a tough, experienced guy. I've got to go with Matt Bonner here, but I don't really want to see either guys lose, but that's the game how it is, so I'm going to go with Matt Bonner.
Can you tell me the weight class, please? Because Bonner is accepting on a short notice. I doubt he will cut to 170.
I think this is welterweight. Matt Bonner moved into welterweight after the Jack Milan fight. He feels like it's a bit move himself, and I don't really see Oban Elliott going up to middleweight. He's not really a massive welterweight, so I'm pretty sure this is at 170. I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay, then it's okay. I mean, Matthew Bonner is pretty much strong for both of the weight classes, and I was surprised in that fight against Jati Milan. He could have just went to no contest, you know, when he ate that knee to the head. But Matthew Bonner, then he stood up and the referee is like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Yes, I want to continue." And the doctor inspects, and the whole match was like, "Man, stay down, you're losing the match." No, he doesn't want to stay down. He just said, I don't want to win this way. That's not fair.
Yeah, that Matt Bonner's not the type of guy to quit in the middle of a fight. Matt Bonner has just got that dog inside of him. He wants to get you out of there. Doesn't want to take the easy, cheap way out. I respect Matt Bonner so much. I respect Oban Elliott so much, but Matt Bonner's one of them guys who I just want to see succeed. He's putting so much work into the game, and it's about time Matt Bonner gets some respect in his name.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope Matthew Bonner is going to win, but I'm also a fan of Oban Elliott. Tough pick, but going with
100%. 100%. I'm a big fan of both guys.
Yeah. Let's transition to the main event. Oof. Is it a title fight again, man?
It's a title fight, yep. Sam Creasy versus Stipe Burch. Sam Creasy was meant to be on the last card in London against Dylan Hazan, undefeated Italian prospect, but Hazan missed weight, and Sam Creasy's team decided to not take the fight because Sam Creasy's had a very unlucky time recently with guys missing it against him. Luke Shanks missed weight twice in their title fights, and then he decided, do you know what, I'm not going to risk this, I'm going to wait until a guy can actually make the weight and fight me. That's what's happened here. I love Sam Creasy, man. I love his striking. I mean, he's got one of the most experienced records, 15-4. Of any of the guys in the Cage Wars roster. I really like drilling some of Sam Creasy's stuff, you know, the kind of the Muay Thai style he's got, the switch stance, very experienced. You look at Sam Creasy's, even like his bag work on Instagram, the guy's so slick in the feet. A family man, you go root for the guy. But I don't see him finishing Stipe here. Stipe's a very tough guy, number one guy across Croatia and Germany and stuff like that. I mean, if your name's Stipe in MMA, you've got to be some level of tough. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be 5 rounds because, you know, it's a title fight. I'm going to go with Sam Creasy by decision here. I think if this fight goes past the second round, this is all Sam Creasy. He's got a very, very good gas tank. He can keep the same pace that he sets in the first round all throughout the 25 minutes. I'm going to trust Sam Creasy here. And hopefully, man, Sam Creasy, he's getting to that point where he needs that shot at the UFC. I talked about this with Matt Bonner. If Sam Creasy was in the US, would have been in the Canadian Series last year. I think Sam Creasy deserves a shot on the Canadian Series if he gets this one done. But, you know, he's got to get past Stipe first, and that's not a guy you want to underestimate.
I say if the fight advances into championship rounds, it's going to be victory for Sam Creasy. But again, Burch might be very dangerous within the first or the second. You know, for a flyweight, the guy has a power punching for a flyweight. He's got very powerful punches. And, you know, when one of guys, when I was talking to one of a guy, he said, you know, man, better pay attention to his right hand. It's so quick and so powerful. And Sam Creasy is more angle fighter, lateral movement fighter, sprawler, sprawl and brawl, scrapper. He's more of a technical, but against Stipe, the best way to defeat him is constant angling, constant angle change, and you must keep him out of your space. In my state, like if you say keep him out of your space, like when your stance out of the space, he mustn't be here, he must be over there, if you know what that means. I don't know how you call it, but we call it space. My coach calls it space.
I know what you mean, definitely. Sam Creasy never really keep his head on the centre line, always kind of moving, and as soon as you think you've got him in the place he's gone and he's hitting you back. Very tough guy to find. I don't think Sam Creasy's got a chin issue. I just think it was that Luke Shanks missed weight and was a much bigger guy than him on the night. I don't think Sam Creasy's got a bad chin or anything like that. He's taking some massive shots. I mean, even in both of Luke Shanks' fights, he took some massive punches. And he's a dangerous ground game as well, man. I mean, he submitted Luke Shanks for that guillotine. Not a guy to be underestimated at all. Neither is Stipe. I think that's why this one is been put in the main event. But I'm definitely rooting for Sam Creasy here. Definitely am.
I think it's going to be a high-level fight. Many people could say this could go to a boring decision, but this could be everything but boring. Boring decision, no. It can be a super technical decision. And you will see that Sam Creasy will constantly try to put Stipe into his space. When people... there are some guys in Cage Warriors who do understand space and who don't understand space. Believe me, Sam Creasy perfectly understands every single aspect of the game. He's one of the most technical fighters who have ever participated at Cage Warriors. And also my coach said that, not me. When I took and analyzed some of his aspects and some of his game plans, etc., then I see, man, this guy is doing everything technically correct. But yeah, Luke Shanks was heavier than him. When you're heavier than somebody, you're stronger. Unfortunately, you can control the central line better. You can land more powerful punches. So technically watched, Stipe is not going to miss weight. No way he's going to miss weight. He's very professional.
I don't think so either. That's a really good one. Like I said, I don't see it being boring as much. It'll be just a really technical fight if it does go all fives. I don't think Sam Creasy has ever had a boring fight in his career, to be honest. And I don't think Stipe's got to allow it to be boring, especially because Sam's got to be aware of the power. Sam's got to be aware if he gets set clean by Stipe, there's a chance that he could go out as MMA and anything can happen. But this is a great one. There could be a couple more fights added in the upcoming days that we don't get to cover because obviously we've got to do this. We've got to do a show then now. But it's a good card. It's a good card coming back for Cage Wars. First time in Wales since the days of Josh Reed and Jack Shore and Cage Wars when those guys were at the top of the card more or less. But definitely a great show, and I'm looking forward to it.
What do you think about Sam Creasy headlining the card that takes part in Wales? I mean, is it okay for you, or like it would be better that Josh Reed or Robin Elliott headline the card?
I can see that. I think Bon or Elliott would make the most sense out of any other fights in the card main event because, whoever wins this fight probably got a title shot between Bon and Elliott. But, it's a title fight. It's 5 rounds. Sam Creasy versus Stipe. I can see why they put it on there. I don't mind that. It would make a bit more sense of a Welshman in the main event, but Sam Creasy, Sam Creasy doesn't live too far away from Wales to the point where it's completely foreign. So I can see the idea that you wanted to put the title fight on the feature fight position. So it doesn't bother me too much, I'll be honest.
Yeah, there might be some more fights that might be added. I would normally analyze next week, but unfortunately, I have to go to Bulgaria, man. Sometimes you got to hate the fans.
Yeah, man, you go there.
Yeah,
it's a real drag.
Me, I'm pretty much introverted, and now I'm not going to be able to live for like 4 or 5 days.
No, I can't imagine it, man. I know it must be some sort of like celebrity, and I said in Bulgaria, the embassy and stuff like that. I know it must be crazy.
Well, they love me for a reason, but of course, I wanna go there, rest, take some fresh air. But I'm going to air Cage Warriors. I'm going to get back on that day to Serbia so I can air Cage Warriors. In Serbia, we do have Cage Warriors. We mostly have it on Sport Club or whatever TV station. Like, they are big fans of Cage Warriors. Plus, I have UFC on Fight Pass. I'm paying it regularly, so thanks God I have multiple ways to watch. But unfortunately, I usually can't cover prelims because I'm usually busy at that time. That's the problem. On Friday, I got a lot of obligations. Like today, I must ride the vein and I must ride some other stuff. But main card, here we go. Here we are. I can't wait for it to cover.
Definitely, man. I can't wait for it either. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah. Thank you so much for participating. I will put this as a premiere on Monday. I don't know exact time. We'll now make an agreement which time. Thank you so much. I will put it to creation now. And for the weigh-in today, I'm up. For the last minute picks, I'm up. For UFC, I'm up. That's where I am.
Yeah, also, what I say, shout out to Chris Duncan. Scotsman gets into the UFC. And good luck to Stevie Ray, who's fighting tonight on the PFL against Anthony Pettis in the rematch. Up Scotland, up Bulgaria, up Serbia. Let's go.
Let's go. Stevie Ray to win, man.
Let's go, definitely. See you later, Vlad. Love you, man.
See you later. Thank you.